and I'm just going to be streaming it, and explaining everything that I'm doing in case that you want to follow or make your own. But yes, this is something that I need to do. I want to do today. The making this blog, and it's a feature that we need to have in the web page. So the website is agentstower.com, and as you can see, there are already differences between this version. This is the live version and the development version. And for example, the nav bar, as you can see, it's different. This doesn't have the blog because I haven't uploaded the changes because I'm still working on that. So this is where we left it. This is from the database seeder. So that's why it's looking like this. Like this is lorem ipsum and it's HTML lorem ipsum. So I can see like the different elements, how they're going to look when they are live. And well, let's start. So first, one of the things that I was looking at the last time that I was working on this was the layouts. So if we go to, I'm going to close all of the folders, and I'm going to start closing all of these tabs, just to have a clean slate. So I'm going to go to resources, views, and in here usually you will have a layouts folder, and this folder, it's going to, like, it's one of the most important folders inside the views folder inside resources, because in here you can define different layouts for your app. For example, a layout for the website, like for example for the home page, for the blog page, for all of the main pages from the site. Then you can have a layout for the app. That's the layout that your website is going to have when you log in, when a user logins to your website. So it's going to be a little bit different because it's not going to have, maybe you want to optimize the space. So for example, if inside of this, like if someone logs in and you have functionalities inside it, and you want to optimize space, like you don't want to have the logo in here, the nav in here, those buttons in here. You want to have a sidebar and all of the functions in here. So that's why you're going to have another layout. And you can also have more layouts, for example, for landing pages, where you don't want people to see certain buttons, or the navigation bar, or the logo in this corner. And that's why those layouts are going to work. The other folder that is really important, it's the components folder, and this is where you have components, that reusable components that you can add to your different websites. And then you have all of the other folders that you can have for managing, for having an order inside of your application or website. So now I'm going to start working on the layouts, because as you can see, we have the main layout, the app layout, and the guest layout. And to be able to use these ones in Laravel, you need to define them, or you need to register them. And you usually do that. I think I don't remember. It's not something that I do a lot of times. Here you have it. So it's an app, view, components, and you have to register the layouts like this, following the same name in here, and which website is the one that you're going to be showing with this layout. So you basically need to do that, but it's already done for these three layouts. So as you can see, I have the main layout, the app layout, and the guest layout. The guest layout is the layout that appears when someone tries to log in or register. Okay, so it's also the layout that is used for when you forgot the password, for when you are going to create a new password because you forgot it, and that's basically it. So I'm going to that is the guest layout, and I'm not going to be focusing on that one. I want to focus on the main and in the app layout. Why? Because I think these names doesn't make a lot of sense when where I am using them. So app, I'm actually using it on the as a main layout, for example, as the main layout for the homepage. So I want to make those changes. It's a little bit of order for me, and I want to have it like really good this project. So because this is kind of the like a template that I can be reusing. So I want it to be like really good. So that's why I want to make these little changes. So that is where we're going to start, and then we're going to be adding more features for the blog. So first, the main layout is the layout that it's actually going to be used for the app. Okay, so I'm going to change the name of app layout, and I'm going to change this to web. This is the web layout, and now this is going to be the app layout, but I'm not going to modify it yet. I want to first make the web layout, and then I'm going to focus on the other one to make sure that there's no error when I change this. So first, okay, so next I need to modify the naming here. This is no longer the app layout. It's going to be the web layout. You can have like any name you want to, and this is going to be web layout, and I'm going to change the naming here. So it's going to be web layout. Then I can search every like in every how do you say it, place that I'm using the app layout. So I'm going to change this. This is no longer going to be called app. I'm going to select app, Control D, and that's well not. So this, Control D, and as you can see, it selected the last one. So I'm just going to rewrite it, and it's going to modify it in all of in these two places. So that's X web layout. I'm going to save this. Then I'm going to go in here. I want to change this as well. Web in here. This one didn't change, so I'm going to change it now. I'm going to change this. So this is now web, and this is web. As you saw, as you just watched, when I press, this is one of the functionalities of features of Cursor. It detects where you're going to need to make the next changes. So you just press tab, and it moves to that line, and then you press tab again, and it makes the change. So it's like a way for you to be more so that you are more comfortable making changes using tab, because you know that the changes are not going to be made if you didn't want it to. So for example, I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to modify here, and I'm going to write web. So now look how in here in the bottom of the screen, it's saying me that if I press tab, it's going to send me to the next move that it thinks I'm going to make. So I'm going to press tab, and look how it's telling me that it's going to modify app for web. So I'm going to press tab again, and it's making the change for me. I'm saving the changes. I'm also saving the changes, and as you can see, these files are changing their color in the tabs, because those are files that are being changed, updated, and they're not. Then I haven't sent those changes to the server. Not quite, not specifically like that. This is working with Git. Git is the version control system, and this Git is what allows you to save your changes and go back in history if you need to, and also it's what allows you to work with a team, and so that anyone can make changes, and the changes are going to be merged in one branch, in just one place or code, and that is the code that is going to be deployed to your live server. So this is one of the other features that you really need to use if you're going to be developing your own web app, or basically anything that includes code. Or now there are also Git for other not projects, for other programs. So I'm going to change this to web. tab web, and then this one. So web. Okay, so now supposedly all of the changes were made, and I'm going to just verify them in here. So yes, it's working. This is home. I can go to a blog. I think pricing is not working. It's not okay. So blog. So, and I can open a blog. So now this is working, and I can change. I can save all of these changes. I'm going to save them using changed app layout to web layout. And then we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to modify main to make it app. Okay, so this is app, because that is where the application is going to be live. Like for example, yes, I think I saw something. Okay, no, everything's okay. So I'm going to go to main. This is going to be now. This is now going to be app, and this is app, and this is app. Okay, and now I'm going to go in here and do the same thing, but for main, and I'm going to change this. There are other ways, like you can change all of these to be like faster, but I'm just going to do it like this. So now in here, app, save, save, save. Okay, so we changed everything from main to app, and we're going to change add those changes to the Git branch. So change from main to app, change layout from main to app. I'm going to commit the changes, and now I want to sync the changes. So I was committing the changes on my local branch, and now the changes are going to be uploaded to, in this case, is GitHub. So it already changed everything, and I'm just going to verify it. If I log in, I think this should work. Okay, I think this is not. Okay, so it logged in. So now there are several things in here that I don't want to have. So I'm going to make those changes. And yes, so I need to have in here the sidebar. So I'm going to go in here, and then in here. So I'm going to start making some changes to the layouts. So that is in resources, layouts, web. No, sorry, it's app. And app layout needs to have it does have the sidebar. So I don't know what's going on here. So I think I make a mistake. Let's see. So if I go to dashboard, it is using the app layout. Okay, that is supposedly correct, and yes, this is correct. So now the app layout should have the sidebar, and the web layout should have the navigation. So why is this showing me? Let's see what's going on in here. So let's see what's going on with this layout. Header, it's adding the nav bar. So let's see, what is the nav bar? So this is web. So why is this not working? Let's see in web roots. So let's go to roots. It's going to be web. And in here, I need to go for dashboard. It's using the executions controller. So I'm going to open the executions controller. And where is this? So let's see. It's using the index root. So this is index, and it's returning the dashboard view. So dashboard, it's this one. So that's really weird. Header. Okay, let's see what's going on. So the layouts, it's using app layout. App layout has the sidebar and doesn't have the nav bar. So let's see the sidebar. Okay. Let's see if, okay, so I think I need to restart this. Let's see if this makes any change. I'm going to run it again. Okay, let's see if this starts. Okay, it's not. Maybe something really easy, and I'm not okay. So what is happening here? This is really strange. Let's see. So, no, this is not sidebar. So the app layout. Layouts app layout, render view, web. So what's going on in here? Let's see. Dashboard. Let's see if there's another. No. So let's see. Let's look at this. Okay. So I'm going to add. Let's see. Welcome to the dashboard. Okay. Let's make a change to app layout. Let's add it's going to be like old school debugging. So I'm going to write this. Let's see if something. Okay, so now it's didn't make any sense. Like, I really don't know why this wasn't detecting the changes until I added this. So let's see it now. Yeah, I really don't know what was the issue. Like, I didn't, like you just saw, I didn't make any change. Like, I just added something and it started working. Like, that was weird. So not no issue with that. Just going to continue. Okay, so now I want to just a moment. Okay. And okay. Okay, so now we're going to be to have the the option to add a blog from the front end. Okay, so for example, suppose that I'm in the back end of this, like, how do you say, like, um, a dashboard for the admins of this website of agentstower.com. So that's me, and other people that can help me. And I'm going to add a way to create a blog from here, because yes, I could go in here and create a website, sorry, a view for each blog article, or I could go to MySQL, for example. This is like the local database, and I could go to the articles table and add the article directly on there. But let's do it from the web, because that is, if I need someone that can help me, that I can tell them to add an article, they can go in there, and then they don't need to access the database or the code. Okay, so let's work on that, and that is what we're going to be doing right now. So I haven't done it in this project, and I don't have like how it's supposedly going to be at the end. So we're going to start working on it side by side. So let's start. First, we need what do we need first? We need a controller. So those are in app HTTP controllers, and then we go to so this is going to be article controller, and as you can see in here, we have index and we have show. Index is to retrieve all of the articles, and show is to show one of the articles. I explained why it's important to use like these words or this method to work with models in the previous coding session that was 2 days ago. So now we're going to do something to create a blog post, and I like to use this way, like this paradigm, to create blog posts: the get create and the post create. What is each one of these going to do? Get create, it's going to show me the website that where I can add the article, and the post create is where I'm going to send the changes once I want to save the changes for each article. So that's why I divide it in get and in post. Okay. So I'm going to save this, and also I need to create a root for this. So I'm going to go to web roots, and then I'm going to go to when it's authenticated. Right now, it's going to be only for authenticated users, but it doesn't need to be just authenticated. We have to have a role for these users, and there are different ways to make these roles, and it's important to have them set to set them before you go live with the app, because if not, and people find those routes, well, they can make like any change that the admins or that you were making. So, but I'm going to do that later on, not in this session. I don't think I have time for that in this session, but in one of the next sessions about creating a blog. Okay, or maybe we could get to there, but I don't want to overpromise. So but I'm going to have it behind the out middleware. So this is going to be the article roots, and as you can see, it auto-completed, and that is something that it's really it's one of the best things to do with Cursor, and other copilots can do this for you as well, but it's one of the best things because you don't have to make like write these things that it's going to be very repeat, that you're going to need to do a lot of times. So I'm going to change this blog create, get, and post. So now we have get create, and post create. Okay, so I don't need this one. Okay, so now we're going to go in here and we're going to see articles create. Okay, and you could reuse different views. In this case, I'm not going to do it, but you can have like a view that is just for creating anything. For example, you could create articles, but you could also use that one to create outdoors. And it's like, if you can do it, it's going to save you time in the like on the long term. But for now, I'm not going to do it, just because I want to show you an easy way to make this blog. So I'm going to go to resources, views, articles. I have the index and the show. So I'm going to add a new file that's going to be called create.blade.php. So this is PHP. Okay. So I have this, and we're going to show this. Okay, so in here, we could have another layout. So we already saw the layouts. Let's create a new layout. So this is going to be called, this is going to be the app layout. Okay, so I'm going to copy this file and I'm going to paste it in here. And I'm going to change the name to, this is going to be admin layout. Yes, it can be admin or manage or something like that. So next, we're going to, so I'm going to remove the sidebar. I don't need the sidebar, sorry, in here. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to leave this in case we need it. Okay. Okay, so this is the admin layout, and I need to register it in here as a new. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it in here, and I'm going to change the name to admin layout. Okay, so I'm going to change this. It's going to be admin, and admin. Okay, save it, and then I'm going to go to create. So this is going to be X, and X is a way to say to our app that we need, not in Laravel. It's a way to tell Laravel to that it's an internal component from Blade. So that's X dash admin, and for layouts you need to add a layout. Okay, create article tab, and let's see what we have over here. Also, just a quick thing that I want to change in here. If you open an article, well, not in here, but for example this one, let's see. As you can see, it doesn't have text center, so I just want to add that, and so that will be in the articles show. So and we still need to work on this. It's not looking good, but good to do it later. So this is class text center. So now it's going to be center. Okay. I like to save changes like in my, but not all of the changes in the same commit. I want to save them, like, for example, if I work on layouts, I save everything about the layouts, and then if I work on the articles, I save everything about the articles. So now this is a simple change that I made, so I'm just going to save it as that. So change article title to enter, something like that. It's just for me. So okay, so let's see, we're in the create. So this is admin layout. I want to also save this created admin layout. Okay. And okay, title. So let's see what information do we need in the articles model. So I can go and open article, and as you can see, we have name, slug, body, preview image, and author ID. And if I open the migration, the table migration, and I open article, we have the same name, slug, body, preview image, and author ID. Okay, so I'm going to have this over here, and I need to have like a field for each one of these ones. So we're going to add slug. The slug is going to be auto-generated. So the content, it's the body, and this is text area. Okay, and then we have. So I can have this over here. And then I have preview image. I don't like the word preview. Maybe it could be thumbnail, for example. So it's going to change everything, but let's change it. I mean, it's not really important right now. So it's going to be, this is thumbnail, and this is going to be thumbnail. So I'm going to need to do the migration again, to run it again because of these changes, but it doesn't matter because we still don't have anything. We still don't have any information about this in the production database. So this is thumbnail, and I'm going to add thumbnail and author, and this is going to be a select. Okay. Yes, like that. It's going to be a select. So now if I go in here and I go to I don't need this. Let's see. So article stable. And so I have a title. So it's not good. Okay, so it's okay, title, string, content. Okay. And then we need the thumbnail and the author. Okay. So okay. So now no, this doesn't. I'm not going to have this one as required because I need to make something else to make this work. So I'm going to just leave it like that. And the author ID. Okay. So okay, this is nullable. And okay. So now in gate create, as you can see in here, in the create, it's telling me that I need all of the authors. So for example, if I go right now to, so it's going to be, I'm going to group all of these ones in So in here, I'm going to use some of the functionalities of Cursor. So I open the sidebar, the right sidebar, and I'm going to write it something like, so it's going to be group these roots in and make them all start with the sloot at. So I don't like this. So it's telling me that I'm going to group everything. I just want to group these lines. So I'm going to say, but I just want to group the article roots. Also, you're not seeing in here. Let me make a change in here, so that you can see. Customize here. So I went to change it so that you can see. But I just want to group the article roots. Okay. Okay, so now you can see that it's just grouping. So I'm going to apply the changes. Let's see if it applies it. Okay, so they're applied. So I'm going to set the changes. So now these roots are going to be have the prefix at, supposedly. So I'm just going to try that. So for example, if I go to here and then I go to admin blog create. Okay, so we have an error. The error is I don't have authors defined. Authors is undefined. So I need to go. So I'm going to add another. So it's going to be admin roots with admin prefix. Okay, so this is going to be article roots, and I want to have a function like a dashboard for the admin. So the view it's going to be admin index. So I'm going to make the change. Sorry, I moved the light. So this is going to be admin index. Index. So I'm going to change this to admin blog. Okay. And I'm going to make the. So let's see. There are different ways that you can order this. Like for example, I'm having the gateway in the article controller, and that is a way to do it. And maybe that's the way that it's recommended. But I like to group the roots in a different way. I like to group them by having, for example, all of the admin roots in its own controller, because it's just for admins, and I want to have. They need special authorizations and permissions and additional validations to make sure that only admins can make the changes and all of these things. So that's why I prefer to have those roots and those methods in just one controller for admin, and not have it by model. So I'm going to make that controller. We can make the controller by ourselves, but I'm going to create it using PHP Artisan, and I'm going to make the controller. So I don't need a model, and I'm not going to need a table specifically for this. So I'm just going to make the controller, and it's going to be called admin controller. So it's going to be empty. So now if I go in here and I have the admin controller, So I'm going to make this, but I'm also going to have this. Okay. So now if I go to web, I'm going to go in here to, this is not going to be the article controller. It's going to be the admin controller. Get create article, it's the name, and get create article. So now if I go to, I need to add this controller in here, because if not, it's going to give me errors. So I'm going to add it at the end, admin controller. And okay, so now if I go to okay, so I'm going to move this. I'm going to remove it from here, save this, and I'm going to, what was the change? Okay, so thumbnail, and I'm going to admin controller. So I'm going to have it in here. So and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to add it in here. Okay, so it looks good. And in here we need to add the article. So now I have the index. So I'm going to go to the resources roots, and I'm going to make a folder. So it's going to be called admin, and I'm going to write in here an index .plate.php, and I'm going to create a new file that's going to be called so it's going to be called, I'm going to call it edit elements. Okay, so it's play.php and edit elements. Okay, so now I'm going to get create article. It's going to return the admin view, the edit elements, edit elements view, and this is going to return us to edit elements. So this is going to start getting a little bit more advanced, because I want to use this edit elements layout for everything that I want to create or edit. For example, if I want to create an article, I can use the same layout. But also, if I want to edit an I don't know, an author, I can, or create an author. I also want to use the same page. And also, if I want to edit or edit an article, it's different from create, I'm going to use the same view. So I'm going to try to do it right now live in here, so that you can see a way to do it. It's not the only way. I suppose there are 100 different ways to do it, but I'm going to try to do this one right now. So let's go to admin controller, get create article. Okay, so in here, the normal way to do it is get the authors and then send the authors to this layout. So if I go now to edit elements and I use the admin layout, and I'm going to make, so this is going to have a title. So it's going to be, this going to be the title. And for example, we're going to have a form, because the form it's we're going to send the information that we want to add or save using a form. So that's why we need to use a form. I mean, there are other ways, but we don't want to reinvent the wheel. So this is form, and this is form. So this is form. Okay. And in here, have the title. As you can see, we are going to change this, because if we want to use this layout or this view for anything that we want to edit or create, we are going to need to have this be created dynamically. So, but I'm going to leave it right like that right now. So now we are going to need a button. So this is a type submit button that is going to send the form, and we're going to have this be, yes, it's going to be saved. And now, for example, usually in here we are going, okay, so I'm going to go to admin controller. Okay, so in here I'm just going to leave this, and this is going to be I'm just going to add a link to create an article. Okay, it's pretty basic. Let's leave it in here. So next, admin. Okay. So now, as you can see, I'm already sending the authors, right? So, for example, so now I don't need this. I'm going to copy all of these that we already create in here, and I'm going to paste them in here, like that. And actually, I'm going to delete this. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm edit elements. And now in here, edit elements. Okay. So now, as you can see, we are using the authors variable, and we're sending this variable in here, this object, using this. Okay. So now, if I save this and I go to the website, it's going to give me another error. It's going to tell me, okay, so I need to add the author in here, and I will separate this. Now, if I reload this, it's giving me the error that I haven't sent the title. So now I'm going to send the title, create article, and I need to add it to this function content. So I save this and I reload it. So now we have the create article form. Okay, but I don't like this. See, I don't like this, because it's because I hard coded these inputs in here in the edit elements. And if, for example, if I'm creating an author, well, maybe an author is not going to have another author. Like that doesn't make sense. So I need to make this dynamically. So that's what we're going to be working, and that is why edit elements it's not finished yet. Okay, and other things, for example, this looks pretty basic, so I'm going to start making some changes. And there are ways to work with the design, ways that that the Cursor is going to help you a lot. For example, using a design system in a JSON format. And I'm going to make later on, I already have a video about it in my YouTube channel. You could see it, but I'm going to start working. I'm going to use those methods to design in the future. And I'm going to add, since this website, this web project still doesn't have the the still doesn't have the this design JSON file, I'm not going to use it because I don't have it. I cannot use it. So let's start here. So let's okay. So first things first. With elements, I'm going to make this that's my layout. So I'm going to have a padding of 10. So now it's not going all the way to it's not getting all the space of it, all the available space. And then I'm going to modify this. I wanted to change this. So now I'm going to okay. And the button I want it to be, I think I haven't created those. Let's see. Those CSS classes. So for example, if I go to here, button. Oh, okay, so yes, I have it. So it's going to be 8 elements class, button primary. Now let's see if how. So I'm going to close some of these ones because so I need to check why we're not getting the images. So I don't know why I'm not getting the images. I'm going to. Oh, I know why. So I'm just going to I need to rerun the migration. So that's really easy. I just go in here and come to the terminal, and I run PHP artisan db wipe, and then PHP to remove everything in the database. Please don't do this in a production or live database, because it's going to delete all of the information in the database. So you need to be more careful when you are in production environment. So artisan, PHP artisan, migrate, step, and seed. So let's see. Okay, so now if I reload this, the images should start appearing. And the issue with this one was that it was using thumbnail URL as instead of it was using premail image, the column that I changed, instead of the dashboard, the thumbnail image. So I'm going to close this. We don't need it right now. And as you can see, it logged me out. I don't know if this is okay. Okay, so now I want to add a sidebar in here, but it's going to be a little bit interesting because I want the sidebar to be fixed. So we're going to work on that as well. And what else? What else we can do with this? So there are a lot of things that I want to do in here. So for example, I'm going to delete the footer. I don't want the footer in the admin layout, so I'm going to delete the footer. I don't have the footer anymore. And also, we're going to focus on this instead of going to the layout and the sidebar and those. I just want to focus on this to make progress on this. Okay, so this is index. Okay. And in here, okay, so two authors, that's correct. This is going to stay like that. We're going to work on this in the future. And okay, so now okay, so now I want to make this to be more dynamic. Okay, so first, this root, I'm going to remove it from here, and I'm going to get it from here. So this is going to be called the action root. I'm going to give it the name of action root, and it's going to be this. So in here, we are going to add the action. I usually like to have it like this without spaces, like this. And then this, we need to have this to be how do you say it, to be more flexible. So how are we going to do? We need to have in here, we're going to need something like a loop. So for example, it can be a for loop. Okay, element as element. Okay, so I'm going to call this, it can be inputs or fields. I'm going to call it fields as field. Okay, so now let's see something for each. Okay, so for example, what fields do I need? I need basically these ones that are in here: the title, the content, the thumbnail, and the author. Okay? But as you can see, these are different types of fields. For example, we have an input field, we have a text area field, we have an input type file field, and we have a select field. So we need to make it so dynamic that we can send any type of field, and this is going to interpret it. So first, I need to create this object that's called fields. So it can be it's going to be like an array. So for example, I'm going to save this, and I'm going to change. So now I have the object fields, and it's going to be an array. So for each one of these elements inside the field, this object is going to make is going to run. It stopped working. I don't know if my website, if the stream is still working. Let's see. Yeah, it's already working. Sorry for that. A technical error. So so in here, I'm going to, okay, so for example, title is a it's an input field, and it's text. So field. So it's going to, how are we going to call it? It's going to be called, so for example, I'm going to make an how do you say it, of value inside here that's going to be called field type. So this is going to be input. So then I need to have, so I have basically input is this one, text area is this one. So then I need to have in here, this is going to be text area. And then I need to have, so it's input, text area, input, and select. Okay. So then I need to have input. So now this is field types. So this is going to be, I don't need that in here, and in here, yes, this is going to be input, and so this is type file, type text, okay, and then I need to have a select. So select, okay. Okay. So I'm going to get the authors. And then I'm going to make this. So, okay, so I'm going to need something like this to just send it, to just add the authors in here, because author can have a lot of values. For example, the ID, the name, but also, for example, the bio, the URL, their website, their Instagram, their profiles. So that's why I need to make an object for each of these authors, just with the ID and with their name, so that I just show that information in the front end. That is the information that we need to create an article and assign that article to the author. But I'm not sure if this is going to be the way that I need it. I'm going to look at it in a moment. So let's do it right now. So I'm going to do die dump authors option, and let's see how does this work. And so action root. So action root. So I need to send the action root. Action root fields, and I don't need the authors anymore. It's going to give me errors, so I'm just going to comment this out. Okay. And so I'm getting the authors in here. First array, we have value and label. Okay, value and label. So yes, that is how I need it. So now, authors option, options. Okay, I think this is how I need it. And why do I create an object that it's called fields? Because I cannot do compact each one of these fields. For example, I don't know, the name of the article, because what happens if a model doesn't have a name, or doesn't have, for example, a bio? Well, it's going to give me an error in the view if I don't send that object in here, if it's expecting it. So I just assign everything to fields, and I make fields to be completely robust, so that it can accept different types of fields, and that it has all the information that it needs to create the form fields to create or edit any model. So now in here, as you saw in here, I have this key that is field type, and I need to use this field type since there are different options. For example, input, text area, select. I need to have a way to separate them in here. So I'm going to add something that is called, I could use an if, but in this case, I prefer to use, I don't know if it's switch or match. I think it's switch. So yeah, I just want to see if everything's, yes. I'm going to delete this. And if it's input, I want to add this. And in the case that it's text area, I need to have, it's going to be different, the information that I need and how I want to present. So I'm going to add, so I have the case input. Then I can have the text area that is going to be this one. And in here, I need to add a break, because if not, it's going to continue adding information. So then I need to have the case select. And I don't think if it's necessary, it's required, but I'm going to ask. So I'm going to open this and I'm going to ask. In Laravel, is it required to have a default case for a for each loop? Okay. Oh, sorry. It wasn't for the for each. It's in the switch. So sorry for that. In Laravel, is it required to have a default case for a switch conditional or statement? Okay, so I'm going to add a default just in case. It's not required according to this, but I'm going to add it nevertheless. So it's going to be default. And the default is going to be missing. I'm going to add a note. For example, it's going to be a div. And I want to have it with background red, I don't know, 200, border, okay. And I'm going to say something like, it's going to be a paragraph. And I want to have something like, there's a missing field type. Please contact admins to fix it. And actually, I like to add in here something like send a screenshot of the website. So in this case, I can see like very fast where's the issue, where's the problem of the error. To send a screenshot of the screen. Send a screenshot of this page. To better understand the issue. Okay, so now field name, field name. Okay, no, I don't like this. It's missing something. Okay, so we have the name, the type, placeholder, and I also want to add the ID. So I'm going to add the ID, title. So this is going to be title, type text. Okay. So for example, in here, I'm going to have something like article title, like this. So now in here, so this is going to be ID. This is not completely ID. I'm going to call it well, I'm going to leave it like ID. Yes. And this is going to be field type. So I want to have this here. And field ID, field name, field type. So this is going to be field type. I don't like that it has like this really similar, the name of these two fields or keys. So I'm going to call this input type. Input type. Okay. So this is going to be called input type. Field. I'm going to add the same thing. ID. And if there's a placeholder, so I'm going to add here placeholder like that. So I have field type in here, then input type in here, and then name in here. It's the visible, it's the one that is going to see the user, and I have ID that it's here, here, and here, and the placeholder that's going to be in here. Okay, so I think it's working now for the input fields. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to add it in here. So it's an input, but it's input type file, and this is the thumbnail. It's going to be called thumbnail, and I think this one doesn't need placeholder. So there are different ways. I can add different fields in here. For example, since this is an input field for uploading files, I could add, for example, which file types are allowed. So I'm going to do that in a moment. Since this is going to be, I mean, I could have everything inside input, right? Because it's the same field type. But maybe I could separate the input with a file type from all of the other inputs, because it's going to be honest, I think it should be a different input field type. So that's why I'm going to maybe create, instead of having it just as input, I'm going to create another one that's going to be input file. So when it's input file, I'm going to have another case in here that's going to be called input file. And here, well, we don't need a placeholder, but we do need like something like allowed extensions on files. So, something like max size. So for example, so this is going to be file. But for example, in here, accept, I think it's accept. Okay, so I'm going to move this to the beginning. And here, I want to close this. I need more space. So I'm going to delete this. And now, so now, I'm going to I need to work on the text area. So okay, so this is allowed extensions, and so for example, yes, and so I'm not going to allow GIF or SVG. It's this, and then like size. Okay. I think this is the name of the tags of the attributes. Okay. So now text area, field type text area, the name, ID, placeholder, and then I want to change everything in here. Field ID, field name, ID, placeholder. I think this doesn't go. I don't know. I'm going to check. Okay, so I'm going to body. So I went to add in here, and I want to say something like these are steps, for example, I don't know, HTML tags, something like that. And I don't know if this one works like that. And the select, okay. So author ID. Okay, I think this is going to work. Let's see. Refresh. And it's giving me an error. Field type. Okay. Where's the error? Switch field. Sorry. So field type. What's the error? Let's see. Let's see. Let's delete this, and I'm going to write down fields object. What's going on? So it's field type. Field type. What's going on in here? So why is it not detecting this? So if I set this to this, mm, so let's see. Let's see if we can do it in view, and it's detecting it. So now if I go to here and I dump the field, let's see if this works. So it's detecting it. So let's see, field type. So now it's giving me an error. Okay. Let's see. Field. Okay, so it's not an object. It's like this. Yes, it's like that. So instead of using this as an object, it's going to be okay. So it's an array. It's not an object. Like somehow. Okay. Okay. So this. Let's see if this works. Okay. So I'm going to add something in here. For example, assets HTML tags. Example like this. This is HTML. Okay. Okay. Thumbnail, article body, title. And in here, I don't want to have the first author selected. I want the user that is going to add the article to be able to add the author by themselves. So that they need to select the author, not just have the first author selected. So I'm going to do that in here, and in the select, I'm going to add an option. So right now I have, like, for example, I'm using in Cursor, I have these lines, and in here you can see that I have lines of 2 spaces, and that is because I'm also using Adonis, that is a JavaScript framework, pretty similar to Laravel. And in JavaScript, I do have I configure it to have it use 2 lines as a tab. But in PHP, I use before Adonis 4 lines. So that's why you're seeing like the differences. This is 4 lines and this is 2 lines. Sorry, this is 4 spaces and these are 2 spaces. So in here you can see that this one has 4 spaces, but then are some that have 2 spaces. So forgive me about this. I'm going to work on this to have just one way to work it. I think I'm going to go to 2 spaces, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to do it later. Okay. So now, what else? What else? Okay, so this is the option. Select an option, value no, and it's going to be a disable. Disable, selected. Okay, so if I go in here, select an option like this. Okay, so they cannot send it just with the default option. So as you can see, it allows me to save and it's not showing me any error, but it's actually not doing anything because, well, I'm not sending any information. And actually this information should be required, this is required, and this is required. There are several ways to do this, and you need to use both ways. For example, you can do it in the front end and you can also do it in the back end. But the recommended way to do it is to do it on both on the front end and in the back end. Why? Because if you just do it in the front end and someone modifies the code, for example, if they go in here and they select this field and then remove the required tag, well, they're going to be able to send the form without adding the information. And if you just do it in the back end, the users are going to send the form, but they are going to realize there was an error after sending the form. You want to show them that there's a missing field, and they need to add that field. Okay, so I'm going to add this as an additional parameter in here. So for example, in here, I could add something like, for example, something like required. This is required. This is required. The thumbnail is not required, and this one is required. So in here, I could add something like false, or simply not add anything. So for example, if I go input, this is going to be if field required, required. Okay. So I'm going to add that in all of the here, in here. Okay. So now if I save this and I try to save it, look how it's telling me that this is a required field. So I'm going to add something like my first article. And then if I try to send this, it's going to tell me that this is a required field. So now I'm going to add, this is going to be, I don't know, small. And in here, I can modify this to be small. Like, for example, if someone is adding HTML, that they are able to see how it's going to look. So, but I'm going to do that later on. So, for example, I want to save this first paragraph. And then if I save, look how it wasn't required to add a thumbnail here, because I said that this was a false, that this was an input not required. But if I remove this and I save this and I reload this, I think it's going to give me an error. It's giving me an error because it's not finding this key in here, in this one. It's not finding this required key from here. So what I could do, sorry, it wasn't that one, it was this one. Instead of using if, I could use Laravel. I could do something like is set, and that should solve the problem. Is set if is set like this, and now it shouldn't give me an error. And now it's going to still be requiring this field, so I'm going to just write it like my first title, and then so this one's also going to be required, so it's going to be my first article body. And then in here it's not going to require this. So I think it's a little bit better because I don't need to add the required tag on each one of these elements or values or I don't know. Elements is an object. So now I can select the author. So, but this is just a front end requirement. The back end, I think I can do this now. And in here, I'm already validating this in the backend. But for example, if the author is required, I'm going to remove it. But as you can see, it is required in the backend. So if I go in here and I write again my first title, and let's see which articles I already have. So I'm going to open this. This is the database. So I'm going to show. So I'm going to show ID title. Sorry, this is name from articles. So I have 10 articles, the ones that were created when I created the database. When I seeded the database, that I spoke extensively about seeding in the previous session, if you want to see it. So, but now, for example, if I try to add an article like this, my first paragraph, and I save this, look how it allowed me to send the form. But if I see if the article was created, it's not going to be created. Why? Because there was this validation of the request in here, and since I didn't send an author ID, it gave an error. Okay, so it returned an error, but we never saw the error in here. So we need to work on that. Okay? So I mean, I can add in here the required true, and it's going to work because we're going to be working with admin users that supposedly should be trained and should know how to add a form, and are not going to be modifying the HTML. But nonetheless, let's do it also to show errors in here. So for example, in here, how can we show an error? So let's see. Let's see in here. So I'm going to ask Cursor how to I'm going to tell it add error handler at the beginning of the form. Let's see what does it come up with. Okay, so it's telling me that I'm going to check if there are any errors, and then use a for each directive to loop through each error and display. So I'm going to apply this, and as you can see, it added this code in here. So I'm going to accept this and already save it. So this is the error handler. So if there are any errors, it's going to show this this div. So for example, now if I go in here and it says for example, I'm going to tell it my first title and then my first story. So my first title, my first paragraph. And I send this. Oh, okay, so now I'm requiring this. So I'm just going to remove it from here to the front end. And then I'm going to reload this. My first title, my first my first paragraph. I'm going to send this, and look, it's giving me this error. Oops, oops, yikes! There were some problems with your input. The content field is required. The author ID field is required. So I don't know why it detected that. Oh, okay, so I know what's going on right now. We're going to work that in a moment. Let's do it right now. So as you can see in here, it's telling me that this one should be called content, but actually I named this one the body. So I'm going to modify this to be body. And now if I reload this and I say my first article, my first paragraph, now I should only have one error. That's the author ID. Okay, the author ID field is required. Okay. Okay, so I could show it in here, but I also would like to show it in here. So let's try to see if I can do this. So for example, if I go in here and I say, so first, this is deep. So I just want to have a gap of 1. So I'm pressing Control D. So that's gap 1. Let's see if it looks better. Okay, so it's closer. So I could also use a gap of 0.5. Okay, and now I'm going to make each field be more separated from them. Okay, so I'm going to go to form and okay, yes, we're going to add it in here. So this is class flex call gap. Let's see how does gap work. So I'm going to use gap y4. So let's see. It's better. And this is, so I can change this. I don't want it to be full width. And so I'm going to delete this. I don't need it anymore. So this is not going to be full width. It's going to be double. Okay. So let's see. Okay, save. And I can have it in here. I can have it in here, or I can have it in here. So I, for example, how can I do it? So I'm going to I'm going to leave it. I mean, I can modify it to be in the center. I think I can do self-end. It's not self-end. It's going to move it to here. I can have it self-center. This is one way. There are other ways. For this, maybe I can have it on the end to have this over here. Okay, so I want to show the errors, right? So in here, I could have the errors, but instead of having errors any, I could use something like error field ID. Let's see if this works. My first article, my first paragraph. Let's save this. As you can see, I have the error in here. Okay. Author ID. Okay. So now I can add this to all of the options. So error field ID message, error field ID message, and error field ID message. So now if there's an error in any of these ones, so for example, if I add my first title, first paragraph, and I save this, I just have the error in here. But I could also, for example, if I have the error with title, I could go to require, make this as not required in the front end, and if I reload this and I say my first title, first paragraph, sorry, first title, first paragraph. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to add it here. I'm going to save this. It's going to give me the error in these two, and it's also going to give me the error in here. But I don't like how this is really separated. So what's going on in here? Okay, so this one needs to be inside this div. So this is here, like this, and I also want to do this one. So like this, like this. So yeah, that's how it should be. So I'm going to save this as article, save, and voila. Okay. So now, okay, so there's a space missing here. So this is going to be flex call, and I don't want to have a gap. So let's generate an error. Okay, yes, this is how I want to have it. So now, okay, so now what can we do? Okay, so for example, if there's an error, I want that what I added in here to be saved, not saved like in the database, but to show it again in here. So I'm going to ask Cursor how to do that. So for example, in text area, let's do it in here. So let's ask it. I want if there's a validation error, I want to show the old value again. Let's see if it understands the requirement, the request. So this is with the old field. So let's apply this, and as you can see, it left everything as it is. Just added the old field, and I'm going to show you why I don't like to have it like this. I'm going to accept the changes. So let's see. First of all, look how it's not adding the placeholder that I had before, which was in here. And if I make a click, look how it's starting from. It looks like the like it's starting like it already has content. So if I delete this, you can see that it's showing me the placeholder. What is happening here? So it's detecting like all of these spaces as content, right? So there are different ways to work with this. To be honest, I usually just do this, and I don't leave like any space between the two tags, and it just starts it doesn't detect any space. Okay, so I know there are several ways to do it, different ways to do it, like everything, but that's how I usually do it. To me, it's cleaner. And so, for example, now if I send an error first paragraph, I'm going to send first title. It's going to leave the first paragraph, but it's not going to leave the first title. So look how it left this, but not this. So I need to add this in title as well. So in here, I need to add value. So I'm going to add it in here. So it's value because it works different than text area. So field type, input file. So in here it's going to be value. Okay, like this. It's already in here. And I think it's like, sorry. I think in here it's going to be a little bit different. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if this one works. So for example, if I select this one and first paragraph, and I send this. Okay, so it's leaving this one. Yes, that is how it should be. And this, okay. So also, if I leave the article, the author ID, how do you say it? Not selected, it's going to give me an error. So it's going, but it should leave me the first title and the first paragraph. So if I save this, it left this, okay, and okay. So as you can see, Cursor is making really easy the development, because web development, because I don't have to write everything and I don't have to remember the syntax for everything. It detects what the template engine that I'm using, in this case is Blade. It's detecting that I'm using Laravel, the methods, also that it's PHP, and it kind of detects what I want to do. So that is some of the things that I like about Cursor. Yes, it can do lots of more things, but you get to a place where you start you want to have more control on what you are developing, and this is how I usually work, to have the control that I want with what I'm developing. So so it's already working how I want to. I mean, there are a lot of other things that we could add, but now I want to process this and create the article. So that is going to be made with this. So let's see if this works. Let's save this. Okay, so okay. Yes, sorry, I didn't detect this. So for example, this is called title, but it's the name for people to understand. Yes, it's the title, the article title. But if you remember, in our database, it's called name. That field is called name. So for example, we can see the name of all of the fields, describe articles, and we have a name, slug, body, thumbnail, and author ID. So in here, I need to map those fields to the fields in to the name of the fields to the name of the columns from the database. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and so let's see. this, I'm not going to work on a thumbnail. Just going to leave a note in here, something like to do, handle thumbnail. Okay, so creating an article, the title and the article title, it's going to be, the article name is going to be article request title. The article body is going to be this, so it's going to be, yes, it's body, and then we have the author ID. So we have name. ID is going to auto-populate as well as created ad and updated ad. So now I have name, I have the body, and I have the author ID. So now I need to calculate the slug. So the slug, and in here I can add some comments. For example, create article, and in here it's going to be like validate request, and this is going to be something like redirect with success. And okay, so I'm going to, okay, so I'm going to need to work on this, but for the moment I'm going to redirect to the index, because it's going to ask me for all the fields that I have in the edit elements view, and I don't want to go into that level, deep that level in here. So I want to save this, and okay, so now I need to create a slug. So let's do the slug. So the slug is going to be auto generated. So I'm going to add it like this. And in here, I could just do this. Let's ask Cursor, what does this do? So for example, what does slug do? It's asking, it's searching. So I'm just going to move my camera so that you can see what it answered. So for example, it's telling me it's a method, Laravel's string helper. It's used to generate a URL-friendly slug from a given string. Okay, it replaces spaces with hyphens, that's what I want, and converts the string to lowercase, that's what I want, and removes special characters that are not URL friendly. That is exactly what I want. So I think it's working. It's going to work. So now let's reload, confirm the form submission, and it's telling me that it's didn't find this. So I'm going to add it in here. Okay. Okay, so this needs to be in here. So let's confirm from submission. Okay. So I was redirected to the dashboard, to the admin dashboard or an admin index, and but I didn't like, there's no message in here, so I need to add the message. So that's going to be in the layout. So admin layout in here. So how can I add this? Um, because the article was added. So for example, and here you can see that this article was already added. So let's make an in here. How can I add this? So it's going to be here. So no, I'm going to call this the session messages. If there are success, okay, so if the session has a success message that you can see in here, I'm adding a with success message. It's going to add the message in here. So I'm going to remove this and I'm going to leave this. So let's see if this works. So for example, let's create an article. I don't want to have we're going to work on this in a moment. I'm going to create an article. First of all, why is it using those classes? So admin index, I don't want to use this. So this, I need to work on this design system for this website. And this is bottom primary and double U fit. So create article, second title, second paragraph, and it's going to be from this output. So I'm going to save this, and you can see in here that I have the success message in the bottom. I want to improve this. I don't want it in the bottom. I want it visible and in the top center position. Okay. So how can we work on this? We go to with elements index. So this is the sorry. So admin layout, and this is going to be okay. So we're going to have how can I do this? So for example, is there a method to check if there's any session message? Let's see if it understands. Okay, so I'm going to apply this, and I don't want to remove everything. I'm just going to copy this. So I'm going to copy this. So let's see. Okay, so okay. But I don't like it how it's doing it. I want to have like any message. I mean, you have to have success and error. We're going to leave it like that. Like, no problem. It's not the best thing, but I'm not going to. Make a big deal about it. So, okay, like this. And so why do I want to have it like this? Because if there's any message, I want to add a div, but the div it's going to be absolute. Why? Because I want to show it. I want to show it at the top. So how can I do this? Let's see how does this look. So let's create an article, and article title 2. So this is going to give me an error, not in this one, but in the next one. And we're going to need to work on it. But let's do it in a moment. So article body, and it's the output. Save, and look how it was added in here. So I want to add it in the middle, in the center of the page, but at the top. Okay, so, and it's also so I want to use top 5, and let's see. Let's ask cursor, and I want to center this absolute div using Tailwind classes. Center, you can use. Okay, so let's see if this one applies. So that's going to be inset x0 mx output. Supposedly that's the only thing that I need to add. Making the limit stretch of everything. Okay, let's see if this works. So it's going to give me an error, this one. So why is it going to give me an error? Because if we look at our database right here, also I want to move the camera. Okay, so if we look at our articles, so let's add the slug in here. So look how each one of these has a slug. I want to improve this seeder, but in a moment. Look how I have this slug, then this one, and then this one. So for example, if I add another slug, another article that has the same title, it's going to give me an error because the slug needs to be unique. So we need to have a way to manage this. And I have managed this in different ways in the past. For example, I used the one that I like the most is to use lookup keys. That basically it's a unique key, for example, 6 characters long, and it can be like, for example, letters, lowercase letter or uppercase letters, and numbers. And this is going to be the unique identifier. So I detect the identifier and I show the article or the element based on that identifier, not on all of the slug. So, but it takes a lot of redirections, and you need to create the slug and the lookup key and everything. So in this case, we're going to do it a little bit easier, or in a different way. So for example, I'm going to try and create an how do you say it, an article with the same title. So that's article title, and this is the paragraph, and I'm going to select an author, and it's going to give me an error. You look how it's telling me that I'm trying to add a duplicate entry in the slug field. So we need to have a way to work on this. So what's the way? We could add a timestamp or something like that, but Let's do it in here. Let's see. Check if the slug is already in use. So for example, we're going to add this verification. So for example, I'm going to go in here. Okay, so I'm going to reload this, continue, and it's going to tell me that the article with this title already exists. So for example, let's do it again, because I'm not convinced this is the way. So it's not showing me the old how do you say it, content in here. So I'm not going to return an error if I'm going to add, for example, instead of using first, I'm going to use count. And let's see if, okay, that's the way this is how I want to do it. So for example, so this is, if there's an article with this slug, if the count is bigger than 0, it's going to add the number of articles with that slug and a dash and then +1. Okay? So it's going to add the slug, and it's going to add a +1 to the number of articles with the same slug. So I'm going to go here. So I'm going to use article title, article content, and then save. Article created successfully. So now if we look at the here, look how it added a 2. Okay. This is not going to work because now it's going to detect, so there's only one article with this exact same slug. So what's going to happen, it's going to add a +1, and it's going to be a 2, but the 2 already exists. So to be honest, this is not going to solve the error. We can validate it if we go to create article again and we say so by the way, these articles are already showing in here. These are showing, so I want them to show at the beginning, so I want to change that. That is done in the in the articles controller. So we are going to order by in here. So I can do it like this, select Ctrl-Shift-L in my keyboard, and then I'm going to say retrieve articles order by updated at field. So let's apply the changes, and I usually read this. Right now I just want to add it. It's going to be something really easy, but to be honest, I don't remember like all of the combinations. So now if I go in here, it's going to show me my latest articles at the beginning. We don't have an image, and that's okay. So I mean, we should add an image, but that's going to be later on because I want to add the images to Amazon, to AWS, and so I can add that's like another animal that we need to attack. So I'm not going to do that right now. So okay. So now, what else do I need to do in here? Where are we? Okay, so the slug. So if to solve this issue, if I try to add another article that's called article title, and I article body, I select an option, I save this, it's giving me the same error because article title 2 already exists, because it only detected this article title and it added a 2, but I already have an article title 2. So let's work on this. It's going to be, I'm going to do something really fast about this. So for example, instead of adding a +1, so this is going to be first if existing article, let's send this load exists. So instead of doing this, I'm going to change this. So I want to change this. For example, there's something called UUID. So let's go to Google. UUID. Versions, I think it's called. Or there are different types of UUIDs. So I want to use someone really easy. Maybe it's not UUID. I want something that is not this long. I want something like maybe 4 characters long. So let's do, okay. So let's do something like, instead of adding slug ID, add a string of 4 characters, of 4 random characters, something like that, to make it. We could add a timestamp or something. Maybe it will work. But for the moment, we're going to do it like this. So yes. Okay, so this is it's going to take the characters from here. Okay. And how do you say, the numbers. So accept this, and okay, let's see if this works. So we created the article, so now this is the new article. Okay, so now if we go in here, we have our new article. Okay, so what else? Okay, so let me just, okay, so let's describe this. Okay, so I want to add a field to determine if the article is going to be visible or not. So I'm going to do, okay, so let's start saving changes. Let's start adding them to our Git branch. So I'm going to add this and this and this. So admin layout like this, and then for example article factory. So I'm going to modify that actually, and so I'm not going to add it. So I'm going to make this create start like this. So I'm going to commit this, and I'm going to modify, make some with some changes to this. For example, if I go to the article factory, and this is just a little detail, because if we go to the articles, you can see if I open one of the ones that were created, it's called, this is the name, okay? And this is the slug. That's why they are not related. So I'm going to do just that. So it's going to be called name. So for example, sentence, and then we have the slug, and it's based on the name, so it's going to work. So now, for example, if I go to here and I delete the database and I add and I see the database again, we have an error. So yes, I didn't add this scaffolding. So we're going to run database migration again. Okay, so now if I open the blog, as you can see, my articles were deleted. I was expecting that because I wiped the database. But now if I open an article, this name, this title matches the stuff. So that's how it should be, right? Now look, this is not deleting. So I want to add a timeout in here. So let's do that pretty fast. So okay, so the article, and I'm also going to add the visibility, how do you say, the visibility column to this table. So it's going to be, so I'm going to add it after, I'm going to add it in here. So it's Boolean, it's published. So yeah, it's published. So default is false. I could do it. Well, yes, we can do it like that. So I'm going to start saving changes. Article factory, and it's going to be article factory name and slope match name with slope. Okay, so let's commit the changes. So now I need to add this column to the so for example, in here I need to add an R where, sorry, is published true. Okay, so now I need to add this field to here. So admin. Okay, so I'm going to do that in a moment, but in here, okay, so I need to add this. So for example, this is going to be I think a radio, or no, checkbox, publish value 1. Okay, so let's see. So no, this is not going to be added. And okay, let's see. Okay, so let's see. Article controller. I'm going to, so for example, right now, it's going to give me it's not going to show me any, I mean, I think I don't know if it's going to give me an error. Yes, it's going to give me an error because this column doesn't exist, and I'm using it. And I'm using it in here, article controller. Because I'm using this column in here. Okay, so I'm going to rerun the migrations. Okay, so now if I reload this, it's not giving me an error, but it's not showing any article. So in the migration, article seeder, I want to make some articles published. Okay, so so now if I run the migration, as you can see, this makes you really easy your web development. I mean, I don't know if it's going to work. It looks good. Okay, so it gave me an error. So this is going to be is published. It's not published. It's published. That's the name of the column. Okay, so let's run everything again. Okay, so now if I reload this, as you can see, we have 6 articles in here, but if we look at the database, and we select ID is published, and for example, the name from articles, you're going to see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 articles published and 4 articles not published. So that's why we are only seeing 6. So now I need to add this in the admin controller. So it's a checkbox, and it needs to validate. Also, yes. So for example, in here, like this. So it doesn't need to validate, because if it's not checked, it's going to give. I think there's something I need to do extra in here. We're going to see that in a moment. So for example, now if I go to admin blog create, okay, so okay, so this is working. There's a field that I'm missing to add. So if I go to edit elements, this was the default. Okay, so checkbox for. Okay, so let's see if this works. Okay, publish. So I don't like this. I want to have like this. Wait. So, but I want to have it like this. Flow row. Okay, so it's like this, and let's see, item center. Let's see if this works. So it's centered. Okay, so if I check this, so I can use tab 2. Let's reload this. Okay, so it's published. So you can use that. Okay. So for example, I can create article first article, first paragraph, and then let's save this. Let's see if it works. Okay. It cannot be moved. Okay. So in here, if it doesn't exist, so in here I'm going to make like this. If it exists, if it's true, it's going to be true. If not, it's going to be false. So let's reload this. Continue. So the article was created. Let's see if it's being added in the blog. As you can see, it's not added in here, but it is in the database. So try to check all. This is the first article. It's here. So if I modify the value, if I change it to 1, so it's going to be update articles set where ID equals 11, set is published equals 1. Okay, so now if I update this, it's going to show in here. So I just changed the I just changed this using the SQL query directly, but there should be a way to modify articles using a form. As how we are creating the form, there should also be a way to edit the form with a form. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for the next session. Right now, I just want to make I just want to test this. And if I create, for example, second article, second paragraph, and I want to check if I select this and I click save, I want to see if the blog is correct. So yes, it's detecting that field. Okay. So as you can see, it's already detected. So that is working. So now I have some extra things that I have to add. For example, we're going to leave that as pending, and I'm going to add a note. So it's going to be able to edit an article, blog article. And I don't remember if I say anything else in the video, but that's what I would remember right now. So, well, yes, I need to make roles, make admin roles. Okay. So, because in here, anyone that has an account, with this page is going to be able to create articles, and that's not what I want. Like, there are users, but there are also admin users, and only the admin users should be the ones able to and authorized to create an article, and in the future edit an article and delete an article. So I'm going to leave that for the future. And also I need to be able to add add a thumbnail from the form. Okay, so that's basically, I'm going to leave that in here. I'm going to work on that on the next session, or maybe on future sessions, but I'm definitely going to show you how to do this. For now, I'm going to save these changes. This, and this. So for example, modify article, added fields to article model, and we're going to save this. I don't remember like exactly the changes. So for example, checkbox and checkbox. Okay, added checkbox field to form. Okay, and we're going to sync the changes. And that's all for today. This is where we are at. We can now create articles and using a form. This is the form. Also I need to add a sidebar to the admin dashboard. That's also that I want something that I want to do. It's just going to be able to have a sidebar in here where I can select the article, like the actions, and also this one. We need to set a timeout to the session message. So as you can see, there's an never-ending list of things that we can do in our web apps, but it's pretty entertaining. I like it, and that's why I'm making these sessions. Please let me know if you are finding this useful. Send me a message or leave me a comment, and I'll be happy to. I'll be glad. Sorry, I will be glad to talk about things. So that's all, and see you on the next session.